right, everybody, welcome to Cigar Lounge. This is a monster cigar, Alex Banks. Thank you. I'm going to start giving shout outs to the cigars we're smoking. This is not my go-to, but this is like my preferred go-to. It's a little too expensive for a box, but this will probably be Cigar Lounge cigars this year. I usually smoke much, much cheaper cigars than this. This will set you back about $12 a cigar. But for those of you who like big cigars and who have inferiority complexes and who overcompensate, do with that what you will, perfect cigar. Perfect cigar. So, hope you guys are doing well today. I can't remember. Did we do a cigar? No, we didn't do a cigar lounge. This is the first cigar lounge of the year, of 2023. Hope you guys are doing well. Please let me know in the comments how everybody's trading is going today. I figured someone would hang up as soon as I said that. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right, because today's Cigar Lounge is about, so you had a bad day in trading. That's what we're going to talk about today. Perfect day for it. Almost fortuitous. So you had a bad day in trading. Now, most people have bad days in trading. Some people don't have a lot of bad days in trading. Some people have all bad days in trading. But they aren't here because they didn't make it. So, today's talk is going to be a little bit of a trader mindset talk about what do you do when you had a bad day trading. Yeah, maybe you recovered already. We'll get into that. But I'm going to give you the Troy McNeil short little bio of trading. I started trading in like 2017 and did really, really well the first couple of months. And then the type of trader I am, I don't lose a lot of money often. But the type of trader I am in the worst way, that's my strength. It's like I don't do a lot of risky things when I'm trading. My downside to that is I can slow bleed money like anybody else. And this is a good reminder that options involve risks, are not suitable for all investors. Options are backtesters backward looking. It's not forward looking. As always, if you have any questions, you need to consult with your financial advisor. Everything talked about today is simply for entertainment purposes. I hope you're entertained. Everything else is, entertainment purposes. So, saying that to say, my weakness from my psychology, my psychological standpoint, is I'm very good at bleeding. I'm very good at overtrade. That's how you bleed money, is you overtrade. And I'm an overtrader. So, did fine so far this year. Woke up this morning and the market was pricing in an 80-point move, and it moved 2 points, right? Or at least by the point I looked at it, it had moved 2 points. So you're going to have a massive vol crush. If any of you guys traded DCs, just a massive vol crush, just painful vol crush. And it's the first trade of the year where if you're new to Option Omega or new to trading in general, or perhaps new to double calendars or new to Vega trades or whatever, this might be the first trade either of your trading career or the first trade of the year that really sucked. It's that first one that you're just kind of like, man, I didn't want that to happen. Not on a Thursday. And it was sunny this morning, and then as soon as this trade happened, as soon as the market opened, I mean, look at Knoxville, Tennessee. It's just dreariness, just pure darkness, right? And this is the trading mindset. If you're not careful, you can get in when you're trading. And I I hope none of you guys can relate to anything I'm saying. I hope you guys are about to say, like, is he okay? Is he okay? Should we send help? But then followed by, like, no, I don't do any of those problems that you're talking about. And if that's you, God bless you. That's awesome. Be a mentor to others. Do awesome. That's great. But I'm just talking a little bit about trading mindset today. I know a lot of people in the Discord had some losers this morning, I myself included. And so I want to talk a little bit today about just what do you do? Where do you go from here? What are all the options that I've learned in the last 5-6 years of trading based on losing trades? So Rusty and I used to work together. We're software developers, and we'd be in the office. And I would, because my bent is towards over trading, that's the thing I have to correct psychologically. I remember one time I had this Amazon Amazon butterfly on Amazon. Payout was going to be like 2,000, max risk 1,000, right? And I put it on, and I think I was down already that day in Amazon. I think it had opened up against me. And this is lesson number 1, the temptations of what you're feeling if you lost money this morning in your double calendars, or whatever you did this morning, or if you lost money. If you are the type of person like me, there's such a thing as called revenge trading. Has anybody ever revenge traded before? Lest this just be a giant confessional. You can interact a little bit. It's your specialty. That's right. And there's the beautiful thing about revenge trading is there's always a reason, right? That's the thing I've learned about the markets over the years. There's always a reason. And so, my Amazon trade from 5 years ago, whatever, max risk 1,000, max risk 1,000 to make 2,000, butterfly. Put it on, went to lunch, checked lunch, the market, something happened. It was a Friday, and we have a gap up. So a gap up, and we sat there for an hour. Okay. So at this point, remember, I've already lost once today in Amazon. It's blown past my strikes. Time is running out. I take that loser. And now, revenge trade number 2 for the day, I'm going to break even in Amazon, I say to myself. And if you've ever said to yourself, I'm going to break even by the end of the day, you know what's about to happen. But I'll keep going just for the sake of it. So the market moves, Amazon stays put on that next leg higher for like an hour. I put another butterfly on. And this time, because the market's decayed, I have to more or less double or nothing that, I think. I mean, I don't remember all the details of it, but the theta had decayed such that there's no premium left. So to sell, Amazon hadn't stock split at that point. So think about like an index almost. Like, say it's $1,000. You're selling a lot of premium at that point. I think I was doing iron flies. Well, the last hour of the day, someone said something and spooked the market, and it went back down to where that original butterfly was. Knocked me out again. And it was one of those moves where I actually couldn't get out. Like, it was later in the day where it was all or nothing, and it was nothing. Now, hopefully you take away from that quick little story that says, man, Troy really sucks at trading. And I do, or I did. But I remember that day. I remember driving home that day from work, because I'm doing this during work. And I thought to myself, I'm an idiot sandwich, right? But the hard part is when you revenge trade, you go so deep into the revenge that all the reasons at the time you start reviewing them. Well, I should have held it. Should have I have held it? No, I don't think I should have held it. Well, I should have knew it was going to fade back down on that initial pop. Should I have known that? I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, depending on how well you read Amazon or the market in general. No, the takeaway, and it took me a while, perhaps years later, to realize this. The takeaway for that day was that there was no reason for anything. This sounds nihilist, but there was no reason for anything that I knew of in the same way that I didn't know anything when I put a butterfly on. I just put a butterfly on. Like when you put a butterfly on, it's not like a directional trade where you're like, hey, it's coming up against the moving average. I think it's going to fade, right? That's a move. That's a play. You can look at that logically and say, hey, it worked, it didn't work, right? When you're putting a butterfly on, it's a pure like options 101 kind of mechanical, like I just think it's not going to move as much as the premium says. That's all that we're doing for a butterfly. Um, so the takeaway to me was, Troy, you have got to stop over trading all day long. And I did. I stopped doing that in equities. And then what did I start doing? I started doing that in like cream. I started doing that with scalping. You lose a trade, maybe you lose a butterfly, maybe you lose an iron condor, maybe you lose a double calendar, maybe you lose whatever. And you think, oh, I'm going to get it back. And so you start scalping. You say, oh, it's moving a lot. That's why I just need to start scalping a little bit. Well, scalping is a skill that I had not acquired. One does, to the Lord of the Rings, but one does not simply acquire scalping skills, right? You don't go to a doctor who says, I think I could scalp, right? You go to a doctor who has acquired scalping skills. And so what happens in revenge trading is you start losing yourself. You start losing all the things in your mind that make you a trader, like the type of trader you are. And you start removing things that on a good day or a non-losing day you wouldn't in a million years do. I mean, I have put on one delta put spreads out of being pissed off more times than I want to ever admit in my life. Would I ever put on I say one delta, five delta, whatever. Would I ever put on a one delta or five delta put spread in general? Is that my style? No, that's not my style at all. What happened? I lost myself for a moment. For a moment, I forgot myself. And that's what happens with revenge trading. So, lesson number one on days you lose money from Troy's pain box, taking the memories of pain box and giving them to you. It's just a trade. Stop. It's gone. The money's gone. The money's out of your account. You can't go back to your brokerage and get it back today. There's caveats to this. Some people have. Some people can. In general, I can't. That's not my style. So that's lesson number one. Does that make sense at all? I'm just like going off. I'm just going through memories here at this point, but I just want to make sure that makes sense. Yeah, another way of looking at it is it's the cost of doing business. And we're going to talk about that. That's the second part. The cost of doing business. But before we do that, I do want to just hit home one more time. Trades lose. It happens. There's a couple of caveats to that, but in general, if a trade loses, it loses. Whether a trade loses for the day should have almost no bearing on if you re-enter another trade, right? Like theoretically, it should have zero bearing whether you re-enter another trade. And I'm gonna just give you guys the lowdown because you're my people here. I say all this like I'm sitting here saying this like a sage, right? Like I'm supposed to be some like And perhaps I sound humble. I've just been like, oh, Troy's learned from his mistakes. He's being so honest uh, with this. Here's the reality. I revenge traded this afternoon. I sat here, and at 11:30 or 11 or whatever, I sat here and said, "This is bull crap. I hate this. I hate like I was ready in my mind to handle psychologically this morning. I was ready in my mind to handle no movement. Like that's always the case with like I had some double calendars. I can handle that. What I couldn't handle psychologically, what was getting to me that day today, I couldn't handle that it really just didn't do anything. Like it just really wasn't moving at all. I didn't like that. That one got to me. Like I took that personal, like Jordan. When I saw that, I took it personal. And so I put on a butterfly. All the things I just said about Amazon, I literally did it today. Now, here's perhaps where Troy's smarter, or perhaps the accountability of knowing I was about to give a Cigar Lounge on trading psychology. As soon as it was profitable, I took it off. On that first dip about an hour ago, I think Wizzy called, using some internal tools, magic, if you look in the Discord. I just took it off for a profit. Great. Am I going to sit there all day? No. In fact, I would be really, really mad right now if I had it on. So I revenge traded. I took it off just because I was like, this is stupid. A, I'm revenge trading. Get out of here. B, by God's grace, I made money on it. So I'm out. I'm not looking for a home run on this. And that's the thing with revenge trading. Last thing on revenge trading. You quite often, not only you lose yourself, but you actually lose like the mechanics of actually the trade. So like a butterfly, in a perfect world where I'd be happy to take 10, 15, 20% on a butterfly, a 0-day butterfly. And I put one on. So I'm beating myself up here, but I didn't go crazy. Whereas normally I'd be happy to take a percentage profit. What happens when revenge trading? Oh no, no. We're going till 4, and at 4 o'clock it's going to land right here. That's what happens in your mind when you put these things on. So, to Wizzy's point again, if a previous trade is affecting a current trade, it's probably a suboptimal trade, right? Lesson number 1. Another way to say that: don't revenge trade. It's stupid. It's stupid, and no one, even if you win, you lose. That's the way to look at it. There's certain things in life that even when you're winning, you're losing. And that's one of them. So number 2, you had a bad trade. Don't revenge trade. Number 2, do try to review the trade, not necessarily from the market direction, but the trading mechanic that you put it on. Did you size it right? Right? Did you over allocate? Were you so sure that CPI was going to go up 200 points that you put on too much a percentage of capital for that trade? Right? Yeah, that's true too. Like once you're invincible, go for a walk. That's a good. Get some tea, smoke a cigar. But look at your capital allocation, right? Like if you have $100,000 in your account and you put $90,000 on the CPI double calendars, I got nothing for you, and you got nothing for yourself, and you know that. So it's not even a question of was it a bad trade or not. It's simply a question of you over allocated. And that happens, right? Like we've all perhaps over allocated capital. We've all under allocated capital before. Capital allocation is its own skill set. It's hard. There's lots of methods for it. There's lots of ways to do it, whether you're a martingale person or you're a Kelly person or you're like just whatever kind of person you are. There's a way to do it. So that's the second thing, is if you're having a bad day, you're thinking to yourself, this sucks, I don't want to do this anymore, which we'll talk about in a second. Um, just maybe think about, hey, would you would you would you say the same thing if you had put 10% of your capital, right? And this is where this is where it all ties together. Well, revenge trading, now I can't. Now I've got to put more. And that's true theoretically. Like, you do have to put a more percentage for the next trade. But that's the importance of capital allocation. Third thing, and again, these all tie together. You might be thinking to yourself, and again, I don't know. I know some of y'all in here. I don't know everybody in here. Obviously, we put these on YouTube, so if you're listening, I don't know if this was your first losing trade ever. At some point, every losing trade is a first losing trade. I don't know if it's your 100th losing trade. I don't know if it's the first of this year for you, if you lost. But what I do know is that through time, it's the Mike Tyson thing. You can look at a back test, and you can say, this has a 88% win rate, and it went from like $5,000 to $500,000. And it only had a 25% max drawdown, right? And you can look at this and these details, and you can say, I have found the trade. I'm not even going to tell anybody. This is my secret. I'm not even going to put it in the Discord. This is like my stuff, right? It's my secret trade. Maybe you're not like that at all. Maybe you're a sharer, or maybe you're a receiver, and you found a trade on Discord that people were putting out there, and you're like, that's a really good trade. I love that idea. I like that. That's my trade. I'm going to do that this year. It's the Mike Tyson thing. Everyone has a plan until you buy a tiger at your house, or what? Till you get punched in the mouth. Till you get punched in the mouth is what Mike Tyson said. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Yeah, tiger at the house, punched in the mouth. It is what it is. Tomato, tomato. But I do want to encourage you that if that's you, if you're like, this sucks, double calendars, punched by tigers too. Really, at that point, if you're getting punched by a tiger, that's best case scenario. That's your best case scenario. Anyway, what I want to encourage you more than perhaps than anything is don't stop doing a trade that you have conviction in the first time you lose, right? Again, not financial advice, but just in general, entertaining advice. It's very unentertaining to me when I see people have a plan, over allocate a bunch of capital, lose once, and say, I'm done. That trade, because we don't take ourselves that lightly. We usually find error then. At that point, we say, well, that trade sucks. That trade's not good, right? And the reality is, this is where it gets down to personality and things like that. Like, there are people who trade tranches. They tranche trade, put spreads all day long. And I might look at that, and I might try to put that on, and I get stopped out like 7 out of 8 times the first time I do it. And I might say to myself, well, that sucks. And now I have to be careful here, because that's actually part of learning what type of trader you are. You have to give yourself some room to say, that sucks. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't like that type of trade. But the other side of it is, if you have conviction in a trade, if you do believe in the mechanics of it, if you do believe in the percentages of it or whatever, and you are taking care of yourself with capital allocation, you're doing yourself a disservice to quickly move away from something without at least going through some mechanics with it. And we tell people this all the time. Like, we know this. If you've gone through any options education, they're going to say, start with a paper account. And you're going to say, well, paper account, the liquidity, all this stuff is bull crap. Like, true. And then they'll say, well, start with XSP, or start with SPY, start with Qs, or something like that. And what's the thing in our heads that we do that? We say, but we want to grow our account faster than that, right? And so if this is your first first loss of the year or your first loss ever in options or things like that, again, just to back up for a second, A, it happens. B, if you're not careful, it'll happen a lot if you revenge trade. C, when it happens, how well are you doing with your allocation? And then D, this is part of the trading journey. This is the part of never be married to a singular idea as if it is the idea. We did not write the backtester for that. We did not write the backtester to say we will find the perfect trades. We wrote the backtester to find interesting ideas for where the market is right now. So the beautiful thing about that is we now have data. We now have data that says, hey, here's a CPI when it didn't do a thing, when it didn't move at all, right? According to, against expectations. Well, now we have that. Now, starting tomorrow, you'll be able to go back in and say, okay, let's look at all the CPIs now, last year and this last one, and see what we can do. And I guarantee you, some of you are brilliant in here, and you're going to find brilliant answers to it. So if you had a loss, take this loss and say, how can I learn from it? If it was a really, really heavy loss, I'm sorry for that, and encourage you to make sure you treat a capital allocation as a strategy itself. So, any thoughts about that? I'm rambling a little bit, but I thought it'd be interesting today just to talk a little bit about psychology, because we don't a lot. I think, if anything, if you heard anything today, just take away the fact that the thing to say, if you're putting a trade on because of the last trade, do not put that trade on. That's a bad idea. That's not good. Right? That's the main takeaway from it. So, with that being said, next week we start some fun stuff. We're going to have some special guests on Cigar Lounges here pretty soon, and I will announce those once they are formalized. If you're in the Discord and you haven't already filled out our little survey, it's in the Cigar Lounge from earlier this week. Please take a moment and fill that out, because we have some cool things we're working on, and we want to get some feedback on some stuff. So, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Any closing thoughts or anything like that? I want to give time to. This was a quicker one. Bill, I don't know if we'll ever have more tickets, unless you're talking about the ticket to this. Oh, tickers. Sorry. That's a wonderful question that I have no answer to, other than we like tickers as well. So, anything else? I'm gonna like this one more time. Oh, for sure you are. For sure you guys are. You guys are killing it in Cigar Lounge attendance this year. I'm very, very proud of you for that. I am. These are going to get fun, I think, this year. There's talk of some fun stuff. I talk so cryptic. So, anyway, it's true. Shout out to Tasty Trade. Small trade often. Shout out till the recognition that it's $1 per contract every time you trade. Shout out both ways to that, all along. So, that being said, all right, guys. I hope you guys do well today. I'm not going to put any more trades on today, because I would just be a hypocrite otherwise. So, and Thursdays, I don't like Thursdays anymore. So, that being said, hope you guys have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.